Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
This is Riley McShane from Allegaeon, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to have Mr. Riley McShane. He's the vocalist of Allegaeon. Allegaeon will release their fifth full-length album, Apoptosis, via Metal Blade Records, April 19th. And I suggest everybody get out and check out this band. They have some phenomenal music. So, Riley, how's it going, man?
I'm doing great, man. How's everything on your end?
Doing awesome, doing really good, and I hope I pronounced everything correctly, and I did not make an idiot out of myself as like I normally do. But anyway.
Hey, man, you came a lot closer than most.
So how's it been working with Metal Blade Records so far?
It's been great, man. They're such an accommodating label. They're like really all about supporting, their artists. They've done so much for us, even in the short time that I've been with Allegaeon. Well, short time relatively. But yeah, they've been really great to us, making sure that we maintain the proper momentum as a band and, provide us with as many opportunities as they can to be all that kind of stuff through.
Now, you guys have released new music video for Extremophiles B. Also, the first single, stellar title Disruption, was the very first one. Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs on this album, which one would be the first single and video, not, and let alone the second one? And what did you want that first song to say for you guys and for the people who hear it for the first time that have not heard your music as of yet?
I guess what we were trying to go for with the first one was we really just wanted to showcase what is being offered on this album. And, we feel that Stellar Title Disruption is the most well-rounded song. It has a little bit of everything. It brings, that kind of like dark atmospheric sound that is a little bit new to us and is really showcased on this record, but also provides, the Allegaeon song structure that people are familiar with, tons of shredding. It showcases our new bass player, really well. He's just ripping it up through that whole song. And then vocally, it also, has like deep guttural parts with, more of my like mid-low range kind of dominating the song. So I think that we just chose that song just because it's the most well-rounded of all of the songs on the record. As far as choosing between singles, it was kind of difficult. There's a few different sounds on this record, a few different styles being conveyed, and we think that, it's good to provide people with a little bit of familiarity, which is why we chose the singles that we did. Not only does it showcase what we're, moving forward into, but it also keeps that core Allegaeon sound intact for old returning fans.
Would you say it's a little more darker from this album from the previous?
Oh yeah. This album's definitely the moodiest album we've done for sure. And I think a lot of that stems from, just where we were as individuals during the creative process, and as a band, we were doing a lot of touring, spending a lot of time on the road, really kind of like driving ourselves into the ground. And I think that just led to a lot more of like a, less of a premeditated sound and more of just like a raw kind of style of songwriting that has a pretty visible emotional content being displayed.
It's kind of like one of those things where you can only stay happy for so long, and you can only stay mad for so long, and put albums like that out there. It's time for a change.
Oh yeah.
Any song standing out more to you than any right now, if possible, on the new album? I know it must change from every time you listen to it, but do you have any that stick out for you possibly? I mean, I know this may be choosing your favorite child or collectible, but
I mean, here's what I'll do, because it is hard to just pick one. So I'll narrow it down to my top three. And in no particular order, I'd have to say that it's got to be the title track, Apoptosis, Metaphobia, and The Secular Age. And not because I particularly think that those songs are any better or anything than the other songs on the album. It's just that when I was working on those songs, and I first started getting, demo files from our guitar players about those songs, those were the ones that like really just like hit me and like made me like excited to work on stuff. Like I said, not to say that all the other songs didn't have that same effect. It's just that with those songs, it was a little bit more pronounced.
What do you hope everyone takes away from this new album, or message you hope they hear while listening to it, or just any of Allegion's music in general?
I mean, as far as just our music in general, we just want people to enjoy it. Sometimes I get messages from people being like, your music helped me out of a dark place, or, I always listen to your music when I'm feeling one way or another. And, just being able to provide that escape for people is super special to me. But for Apoptosis in particular, the theme of the album is about, death leading to like a new and better life, regardless of whether or not it's in like cellular structure or in different scientific phenomena, or even in like society, via like philosophy or religion or whatever it might be. Our stuff is focused a little bit more on like science, like fields of science, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like astronomy
Right.
or forestry and stuff like that.
Who did the artwork on this album, Riley?
Travis Smith. He's worked with he did Blackwater Park for Opeth, as well as a couple other albums of theirs. He's also the guy that did The Sound of Perseverance for Death way back in the day. Has a huge catalog of just amazing artwork that he's done, and we wanted to work with him for a long time, for a few albums now. And when he expressed his interest and also his like excitement about working on the project, we were just so stoked. Having him on board was awesome. It was super cool working with him. Super nice guy.
Was it pretty easy working with him when he got exactly what you guys were looking for?
Oh yeah. There was a lot of back and forth between us. I have like an email thread in my inbox with him that's like a couple hundred messages deep of us just like back and forthing between ideas and what we were trying to express and how he interpreted that artistically. And he made slight modifications here and there, and did what he had to match our vision. But he did such a good job. Delivered such a fantastic final product for us.
The album was tracked at Flatline Audio in Denver with long-serving producer Dave Otero, who's worked with Cattle Decapitation and Cephalic Carnage. How was working with him on this, man? I
mean, working with Dave is always a treat. You know what I mean? He's such a hands-on producer. I've worked with producers who are a little bit more subdued, but Dave gets like super excited when he's working with you. If you lay down a bad take, he won't try to like pussyfoot with you. He'll just be like, yeah, that sucks. Like, do it again. And sometimes he'll like, provide ideas. He'll be like, hey, maybe instead of phrasing it, like da 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 da, maybe phrase it like da 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 da. Like he'll like give you creative ideas and kind of like fuel the fire a little bit. And it's just cool, like hashing out those fine details with a producer instead of having to be completely self-reliant. He knows what he wants out of the sound that he's trying to sculpt, and he like always makes it, such an easy, streamlined process. And then, his final product as well is always just amazing. So yeah, working with Dave is great. I quite enjoy it.
When you work with him, do you feel like he gets that extra mile out of you guys, that extra notch that he's looking for?
Yeah, I think so. I think that he's been working on Allegaeon for a long time. He's done 4 out of our 5 records. And so it's like he just knows how to make us sound good. And we know that he knows that, you know what I mean? So when he gives us suggestions, we're usually pretty receptive. And I feel that helps him, work and makes it a little bit more streamlined of a process, so that he can deliver the best final product possible. So yeah, definitely. I think that he definitely gets what he wants out of it.
Now, this is the first album to feature new bassist Brandon Michael. What has he brought to the band that might have been missing, if anything, possibly? What's he added?
Oh man, so much. Corey Archuleta is a great bass player, but he played it back. He dialed back his playing a lot. Even for like bass solo sections, he was less of a soloist and more of like he would play like the same motif like 3 times, then repeat a different one, and then repeat a different one. And it was definitely his style. But Brandon is just a little bit more of like he has such a wellspring of musical knowledge. You know what I mean? Like he just is so well versed in like funk and soul and all kinds of different stuff. And he offers such a huge dynamic addition to our band. Like adds so much more depth to the songs, and I feel like that can really, really be heard. Apoptosis.
How much growth musically have you seen this band, and including yourself, go through up to the release of this new album from the previous albums? Or has it just been more of a personal growth for all of you guys involved in Allegaeon?
It's been awesome. You know what I mean? I feel like we've all definitely grown. And I mean, and that part of that ties into why I named the album Apoptosis. You know what I mean? Like, Allegaeon has been through so many members and so many people on our back end, and you know, we've just gone through a lot of change in the band and the people that are part of our team. And I feel, however, that all that is and was necessary to get us to the point where we are now, which I feel is like the best version of Allegaeon that has ever really been. So that idea of death leading to like a new and better life is still, you know, it applies in a non-scientific way to our growth as musicians and our growth together as a band.
Riley, do you do anything differently during the writing and recording process to help keep your mind fresh and open, to not let the music get stale, to not let it get boring? I mean, I know these are two processes, but do you like to do anything differently maybe?
Yeah, I actually I have a process that I go through when I'm working on music. I guess let me preface that with, while I was working on Allegaeon, I was also working on my other band Continuum's new record. So if I got burned out on one, I would just switch to the other, and it would, you know, kind of put a fresh set of ears on me. But when I am in my writing process, I use something that I heard from a talk with a hip hop producer that I had, where basically what he says he does is he gives himself like a certain amount of tokens, he calls them, just like these you know, imaginary kind of figures that set like a almost like a deadline. So basically it's like, for me personally, I give myself like 10 tokens, right? Mm-hmm. And I spend one every time I sit down and work on a song. And once I'm out of the tokens, like I never touch it again. You know what I mean? Until we're in the studio and we're doing like fine tuning and stuff like that. And it helps me not only create a deadline for myself, being like, oh, I can only work on this song like 2 or 3 more times, but it also, it just provides incentive to like seek out those creative means to, you know, see something through to completion, or, you know, make each session really worthwhile. You know what I mean? Instead of just sitting down for 10, 15 minutes and getting burned out and being like, oh, well, I'll work on it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like it kind of gives me that extra little bit of push to really make sure that I, you know, do the best that I can on each writing session.
How do you balance out to say, okay, I'm going to use this riff or this guitar riff on this album, or versus the other one? How do you say, okay, this I'm going to use for this one, I'll use this for over here later?
Each project that I'm a part of is really different from one another. You know, they're all metal projects, but, you know, as I'm sure you know, metal has so many different varieties, so many different flavors. Yeah. And so like Continuum is like a brutal tech death band. You know what I mean? Like, it's all super, my vocal performance has to be really percussive and all based on timing and stuff like that. Whereas Allegaeon is a little bit more like traditional songwriting and focused more on like catchy riffs and hooky vocals and stuff like that. So it's pretty easy for me to separate the two, just because musically they're so very different.
What can fans expect at a show from Allegaeon who have not got to see you guys live as of yet, Riley? What are they going to get when they come to see you guys live?
Oh man, high energy. That's our philosophy. You know what I mean? Like, we would rather put on a great show and like put out everything we have while we're on stage and miss a few notes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Rather than just like stand in one spot and play the whole thing perfectly. You know?
Yeah.
So we really try to bring that energy to every show that we play, and you know, I think we do most times.
Everybody has an off night. It happens.
Yeah, and sometimes you fuck up. You know, it happens.
Do you like the digital era of recording albums to get music out quicker, and plus social media now to reach out to more folks who have not got to hear of Allegaeon? Do you like this that we're living in now, possibly?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think that, you know, the internet has provided so many amazing tools for arts and entertainment to reach new heights. You know what I mean? The metal industry included, although the other side of that coin is that, you know, there's a lot of naysayers, there's a lot of negativity in a scene that is traditionally so surrounded by like countercultural ideals and, you know, just kind of like, you know, being angry and full of angst and all that kind of stuff. You see a lot of that bleed out into like the public forum, which can be discouraging as an artist. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough to read some of those shitty YouTube comments and stuff like that, but it's worth it for what like the internet age provides as far as getting that exposure out there and, you know, taking the good with the bad. I think that the good is just so much more prevalent.
What does Allegaeon bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now? I mean, I know people are adding new stuff to metal music, but what does this band bring to the table, if anything?
That's kind of a tough question. I think what Allegaeon brings to the table more than anything else is just diversity within our songs. You know what I mean? Like we don't cage ourselves in being like, this is how this has to sound. You know what I mean? Like we write according to how we feel, and we write according to what we just want to write. And I think that that's heard in the music, and I think that variety is kind of what differentiates us from other acts in the scene.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, I want to do that right there?
I've been singing since I was a real little kid, like 4 or 5 years old. My oldest sibling is my brother. He's about 15 years older than I am, and he got me started really early, along with my oldest sister. Him with like more rock-based stuff, and my sister more with like R&B and hip-hop and jazz. And it's just always been a part of my life, something that I couldn't really imagine myself not living. Music is just so integral to the way I view the world that I feel that it's kind of just like my only option. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. How much local support does Allegaeon get via venues and plus maybe some airplay? How much local support do you guys get?
Oh, tons. Obviously some markets are stronger than others, but especially now that we've started to branch off into a little more international audiences in Europe and going to Australia in a couple months here, just seeing all these fans coming out, people wearing our gear and, singing along to our songs, it's really shed a lot of light on just how much support Allegaeon has, not only in the domestic market, but in the international one as well. Is
there a country that stands out or even shocks you that Allegaeon gets support from, or your music gets played in maybe?
We saw a lot of really dedicated fans over in like Eastern Europe, like in Poland and in the, in like Slovakia and Estonia and stuff like that. And that kind of surprised me a little bit. It just doesn't strike me as the kind of place that would have a big melodic metal community, you know what I mean? But when we went over there were like, people that were like in tears kind of things. They were like finally getting to see us, and it was a super moving experience. And I don't know if it's just that fan reaction that really stands out to me and makes that my answer. But yeah, when we went over there and saw that level of support, it was super touching.
It's like they eat it up over there.
Oh yeah.
Versus
100%.
over here, which I'm not knocking us over here. It's just like they show more passion for it.
Yeah, and I feel like it depends on the style of metal. You know what I mean? Like deathcore bands and more like progressive, like genty kind of bands do, I feel, way better in the States. Versus like melodic metal bands and more like old school death metal and stuff like that does way better over there. Like power metal or something like that does way better over there. And I think that it's like if you go to like, if you've ever seen like Whitechapel live, you know what I mean? Like the level of dedication from that fan base is crazy, and people are just like losing their minds at those kinds of shows. So I think that dedication is there in the American audience. I just think that it's for a different style of metal than the kind that Allegaeon plays.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Allegaeon's 5th full-length album, Apoptosis, via Metal Blade Records, April 19th. Get out and check this band out. They have some really good music out there right now. So, Riley, keep it up and keep going. How could folks stay in touch with you guys, buy this new album, merchandise, tour dates when you go on tour? How can they do that, my man?
We're on all social media. Instagram is the one that we kind of respond to the most. We, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. As far as pre-orders go, we're hooked up with Metal Blade. So if you want to check out the pre-order bundles we have, hit metalblade.com/Allegaeon to see all the good stuff before the album comes out.
Before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Oh, yeah, dude, absolutely. This is Riley McShane from Allegaeon, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our YouTube link, plus it has our podcast link and soon a Twitch link. Also, get out and check out Allegaeon. They have some great music out there right now, and plus get out and check out their 5th full-length album, Apoptosis, via Metal Blade Records, April 19th. I like saying that, Apoptosis. I like that.
Yeah, right. It's a fun one.
Riley, man, best of luck to you guys, and then keep your nose to the ground and keep grinding it out, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. We definitely will, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.